Hello everybody, Jake Guitar here again. What we're going to do today is we're going to refinish this outdoor light sconce. This is what it looks like now, but this is what it's going to look like when we're done. Okay, I decided to do this project because the lights on the outside of my house were really starting to look faded and dingy, and this is one of those things that's really going to freshen up the look of your house. So let's get started here. I think the number one reason why people don't mess around with things like this is everybody's afraid of electricity, and rightly so. If you do something wrong, you can have a big problem on your hands. You can have a fire. Even worse than that, you can get electrocuted. So watch exactly what I do. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the switch on, and we're going to verify that the light is on in front of the house. After we verify the lights on in front of the house, we're simply going to go to the breaker box and find the breaker and shut the light off. Okay, once the light is off at the breaker, then there's no more power going to that light out there. You don't need to worry about anything. Don't rely on just the regular light switch, because if someone comes by and flips it on while you're working, you're going to get shocked. Okay, so let's go out to the light here, and the first thing you want to do is you want to first notice or figure out whether or not you have some silicone or caulk that's holding this sconce onto the front of your house. This one does not, but oftentimes when they paint a house or they finish a house, they put a bead of silicone or a bead of caulk or some kind of adhesive between the light and the wall. If you have that, what you want to do is you want to take a utility knife and simply cut the bead. Once you cut the bead all the way around, this light's going to come off as soon as you take these two nuts off on either side. That nut and the one I just showed you a second ago. Let's get started removing this light. Counterclockwise, lefty-loosey, and these two nuts are going to come right off. Once the nuts come off, the light is going to come away from the wall. You're going to have two wires and a ground. The two wires are going to have wire nuts on them. I recommend just remove these two wire nuts and separate the wires. The ground wire is going to hold the light in place. It's screwed on with a screw. You're going to have a screwdriver at this point to remove the screw. When you're removing the screw, keep your hand on the sconce, because as soon as you release that wire, it's going to fall and break. Alright? So now that we have the light off the wall, we're going to lay it down in a place where we can disassemble it. Disassembling is very easy. There are two screws on top, and the two screws on top are finger screws. Oftentimes you have to put a screwdriver on it, but in this case we've just got some finger screws, and they should be finger tight. You don't have to worry about putting pliers on or anything like that. Take the little nuts off, separate it. You're going to take the light bulb out, and then we're going to get started removing the little pieces of glass from this fixture. Most of these lights have a little tab. There's a little Phillips screw or a regular slotted screw that you're going to have to remove. Keep your hands on the glass when you take the little tabs off, because the glass can fall and break. But that's as simple as that. Those little tabs are simply just holding on the glass, and you're going to take those things out, because when you paint this light, you don't want to accidentally get paint on the glass, and you don't want to have to start taping things up. You want to make it nice and easy for yourself. There's a little cap oftentimes on the bottom of these things as well. Take that off. That screws counterclockwise, and you can hold it with your fingertip on top, or if you have to put a pair of pliers to hold back on it while you screw this thing off. Once we take that off, you're going to examine the finish on your light. Make sure it's not chalky. If it's chalky, then I recommend using some kind of a solvent on it, maybe some isopropyl rubbing alcohol, and just wipe it down, get the chalkiness off. Make sure it's clean before you start painting. These things generally are not going to require a primer. I decided to use Rustoleum hammered black paint. I actually was looking for a brown, but at the time I couldn't find it. but this is a nice color black, and I did notice that a lot of fixtures in my neighborhood were painted in black as well, so I'm not too worried. But the hammered look is interesting. It actually has like a texture to it, and it doesn't just give you a glossy finish. It's kind of a textured, bumpy finish. I don't know what they put in this stuff, but that's what it does after it dries. And it's pretty cool, if you ask me. Anyway, so we're going to continue painting this thing. Make sure you get all cracks and corners. It's got some turns and some angles and stuff on these things, so you're going to have to flip the sconce over in all different directions and make sure you don't miss anything. And of course, do the same with the other parts. This part here, and you can leave it on the concrete or leave it on the ground, put a piece of cardboard down, whatever you want to do, and you're going to paint these parts. I put a glove on only because I don't want to get my finger sprayed. Stuff's hard to get off your hand. Okay, so this is pretty cut and dry. We're going to get the glass, we're going to put it in the sink, clean it up just like you clean anything else, and then dry it. So here's where we are putting the light back together. Putting the glass back in is quite simple. It's exactly the same thing as taking it apart, but you're going to do it in reverse. Okay, so put your little pieces of glass in. Be very careful. Don't cut yourself. And put your little tabs in with the Phillips screw and tighten them one by one and put your little pieces of glass back in. Then you're going to take your little cap that goes on the bottom, put it in, and make sure the little nut is there and just tighten it. Put your light bulb back in, and then we're just simply reassembling this light fixture before we put it back up on the wall. I told you this was an easy job. Okay, here we are. We're going to connect the ground wire first because it makes it easy to work. Once you connect that ground wire with the screw, you can actually just dangle that thing and then connect the other wires after that. And if you're working by yourself, it's great because you don't have to rely on somebody to hold it up for you while you're trying to do this. The wires go together. You twist them with your fingertips, then you take your wire nut and then screw it on there clockwise, just like you're tightening a screw. Make sure you tuck your wires in and put your light fixture back up on the wall. Put your little finger nuts back into place there. Now, if you wanted to take it a step further, you can always take a bead of caulk, get some silicone or some caulk, and caulk around this. I didn't bother. It wasn't like that before, and I'm not going to do it now. So anyway, take a look at this. We're gonna put the light on now at the breaker. I'm going to step outside and take a look at the beautiful job that we did. Nice, huh? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, a thumbs up is appreciated. Comments are always welcome, and please subscribe if you want more of these cool videos. Have a great day, everybody.